Julian has inspired me.
Hello and welcome to our servant podcast, Observant. Are you observant? That's really clever. That was her idea. That was great. Good idea. We're your hosts, Bill and Sonja, and today's episode we'll be reviewing season 3, episode 3, Hair. All right, in this episode, Julian digs for the truth about Jericho. New visitors at the local park worry Leanne and Dorothy, and make friends with Sean.
Yeah.
Now, lately, these episodes have been coming out like Thursday night instead of Friday, so that's pretty cool, right?
I hope that continues.
It won't. But yes, I do too.
We'll see. We'll see next
Let's enjoy it while it's
Friday
here.
if they come out on. Well, we'll see next Thursday.
Yeah.
But I hope so. I don't know if it's just a time difference or what, but it can be because anyway.
Oh, who knows?
Anyway,
I'll look a gift horse in the mouth.
First thing I think we should talk about are the corrections that we made on our the podcast.
We made okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
you made.
Really.
I should have said you made.
Corrections to the mistakes I made is what you're trying to say.
Correct.
So we
Correct.
were talking about Natalie.
Yeah, and you told me I should go back and rewatch the
Yeah.
episode. How dare
Okay,
you.
so I was thinking of their dad's girlfriend.
Courtney with a K.
Courtney with a K. That's who I was thinking
I don't know
about.
how you confused Natalie with Courtney with a K.
Yeah, I
but-
know. I totally forgot about Natalie. That's what it was. You know, so then Natalie popped in my head. Maybe Natalie, Courtney, the Y at the end. I don't know. But I was thinking that we were talking about Dad's girlfriend, not Julian's girlfriend.
Okay.
Which
So.
girlfriend booty call, whatever they got going on there. So anyway, my
And
bad.
the name of the Church of the Lesser Saints,
Right,
of course. And Julian, we really don't know that much about Julian, but I don't think he's living
that's a
at the
correction.
house.
I'm not gonna concede this one. I think since the Josephine incident, Julian's been at the house. He's been living there. You know, it's like maybe he goes home every once in a while, but he comes right back. Obviously, Sean is annoyed with his, always being there. In this episode, he even says something like, you could do this at your place. So he's obviously been there and ordering the Peloton there and working out there. Like,
Right.
they're obviously sticking together during all this. That's why
he
they're
doesn't
so
live
stir.
there.
That's why they're so stir crazy. Well, for the last 3 months, yeah, I think he has.
Well, I don't think so.
Well, I do.
Because, Leanne was
We're
like,
just gonna have to agree.
Leanne was like, go home. And I don't think.
Yeah, people don't say that unless you're there too much.
I'm not saying he hasn't overstayed his welcome. I'm just saying that I don't think he lives there. I think we don't really know. We don't know that much about.
I know
Julian.
He's been there. He's been there. They've been sticking together. That's why
he's there, but I don't think he lives.
That's why
there.
they're all stir
So
crazy.
where does he hang out with Vera then?
Well, we're just like I said, we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
Well,
he's in rehab.
They're not in rehab anymore.
But that's where they met.
I know, but they're not in rehab anymore. So where are they now?
He just got out.
Anyhow. Anyway, this episode was directed by.
See, we don't always agree.
That's an understatement. This episode was directed by Carlo Mirabella Davis.
Who's that?
I don't know, but M. Night. I watched an interview with M. Night. He was talking about how he purposely hired international directors and writers, and so
okay,
to get a different reaction out of the actors, and so
interesting.
And he picked them for their style. So
okay,
and it was
different stuff.
Written by Alyssa Clark, and it starts off with a flashback of the day that Julian
discovered Jericho.
Yeah.
So it shows, the ham that was sitting there, the ham with the maggots all over it, and
right.
And then we see, Julian goes and basically finds Jericho's body. He vomits, and Naturally, he vomits pure wine. If y'all didn't notice that, it was wine.
Yeah. I was
came
wondering,
out.
was he to become an alcoholic? Was he using? I thought maybe he started using after he saw this, but maybe it was well
I
before.
think it was well before. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah. When they show the flashback of him looking at Dorothy on the floor after she had her
completely comatose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she had that where they did a close up on her eye, and that her eye looks a lot like to me it looks like when she looks off in the distance with that
weird stare she gets.
That weird stare is the same
okay.
thing. They showed that scene of Vera, him and Vera, Julian and Vera in the car and talking about adoption. Vera was talking about how she gave up a baby for adoption. What do you think the significance of that was?
I don't know. That was a little strange. She mentioned how her mom didn't let her bond with the baby, and that really helped. So she's able to give it up. They were correlating that to Leanne, and thinking how weird it is that if that's Leanne's baby, how she's there letting other people take care of them and believe that it's their baby or whatnot.
Mm-hmm. How hard that must be for her.
Right. Maybe showing how, like, improbable it is, or like how crazy of a situation it is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then that's when they introduced this whole theory. Well, that theory about Leanne, being, what did
Jericho's
you just say?
mom?
Right, and the hair and the DNA.
Yeah, being the biological mom.
Right.
Okay.
Isn't that when they start talking about it? Because didn't Julian go in the house at that point and tell Sean, I think we should do a DNA.
Yep, that's when he did it. So that's actually Vera's idea, which, again, remember last time, I think Vera's a reporter, or she's part of that team of reporters,
It's a good story.
Yeah, it's a good gossip columnist type investigative reporting, I would say, type stuff. Maybe it looks like she's digging and she's pushing him to do it,
Mm-hmm.
So she definitely manipulated him to go the next step with it.
Right. Even later on, we'll talk about how she even introduced the thought of him talking to Dorothy.
Mm-hmm.
So
and he went right to Sean with it, and Sean's just like, leave it alone. Like, it's good. Why are you messing things up? Sean doesn't care as long as things are moving smoothly. He can pretend all day long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Sean really wants to believe in this.
I think he is too. We talked about him over the last couple seasons becoming a believer. Mm-hmm. Whatever that means.
Yeah.
But he's definitely throwing himself into it.
Yeah, whereas Julian is an atheist, and since he's sober now too, I think he's really throwing himself into.
Well, that's his new addiction, Most of the time when, addicts become sober on whatever, substance it is that's causing strife in their life, they find something else to attach to, whether it's religion or, a new job or a sports activity or working out, whatever it is. And he seems to be trying to find it because he's working out and, trying to dig to the truth, whatever that is with Leanne and Jericho. Yeah,
it was kind of nice to at least see one of them trying to deal with the tragedy.
That is, it's probably the most healthy activity that's going on in the house, if you think about it. It seems like he's causing strife, but really he's trying to get to the truth.
Right. So then they show, Sean is going to try to get Leanne out of the house again. Mm-hmm. So when they're going out to the park, the gate.
Yeah, the gates.
Is the
opening scene, new opening scene where all the zombie cult people are out there. Yeah. Right. It looked like the exact same thing when they walked through the gate.
Except in daylight, but yes.
Yeah. Is that a clue? Is that a clue that those kids are cult members? I don't know.
I don't know. Those kids, they seem legitimately like homeless kids, but
They sure do. They seem like street kids, and
right.
they don't have that weirdness like George and them did.
Well, they're a little weird, but
Wow.
I
But
don't
they're
know.
leery of people, and they're not pushing themselves into the situation like the cult members did. So I don't know. It's so hard. Like, are we jumping onto the paranoia train and thinking they're part of
We've
it?
been on that train. We've been on it.
Well, this season they've really pushed that, thing of paranoia and how it makes you
Right.
see and think things, and then they're throwing these kids at us. And these kids there's things we could point out like, nah, they're not cult members because of this and this and this. But then we could also point out they might be cult members because of this.
Right. Well, like on one side, I'm thinking like the one girl with the shaved head, she's
Right.
got a cancer
Tattoo
on
right?
her face,
Right.
which made me think, well, maybe she died of cancer.
Right. And she was
And
resurrected.
and she was resurrected.
That's a good clue right there. Yeah. She also has like the 3 dots in the triangle on her, by her eye. Typically means I grew up in LA, so it was very common tattoo there. It means mi vida loca, which is kind of like gang tattoo type thing,
Maybe she
So
died
who
in a
knows?
gang.
Who knows?
It could have been a family member that died of cancer too.
Right. Who knows?
So
but obviously there's some death there. So
and then you thought the one, well, the second thing that makes me think it is when they were interviewing that one kid, he said that he said he had a heart problem.
Right.
So that made me think, well, maybe he died.
Did you all notice who that kid was? Did you recognize that kid? Now, here's another thing we don't necessarily agree on, but I feel like 99.9% that I recognize him from the last episode. He's the one that broke in and took the dagger. Because it showed a side view of his face while he's walking away. I think very obviously that's him. Unless I'm totally tripping.
I can see it might be him. It would make sense and that would, I think, point that they are in the cult. They are cult members. I'm not sure if that was him.
Right.
But
maybe they're directing us to think that,
You're
Who knows?
pretty sure that that's
I'm
him.
really sure. Like as soon as I saw him, I wasn't like, I was like, oh, that's him, immediately. So go back and watch it. Go back to the, what is it, episode 2, where Leanne was peeking through the door and saw the guy walking around.
No, it's episode 1.
Episode 1?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, episode 1. Yeah, episode 2 wasn't long enough. 25 minutes. But it shows a side of his face, and then go back to episode 3 and look at this kid's face. Like, it's got to be him. Anyway.
We should hopefully know by the end of the season.
Yeah, hopefully we'll make a fool out of myself.
So, what Sean is cooking again? He's cooking
Sean's
with
making
weeds.
big friends with them. He's a good guy. He sounds such a good dude.
I've always been Team Sean.
Yeah,
always.
Definitely got a good heart, and he goes to feed these kids. He's gaining their trust for sure. Or are they gaining his trust? Slowly but surely, right? Yeah. So he was, he's feeding homeless kids all this like foo-foo gourmet stuff. But we were talking about, I was telling you about my dad, who was, he was born in Arkansas. He's very country. And he used to eat dandelions and mustard greens and all this kind of stuff. And you were telling me that those things were in the Bible.
Yeah, they have symbolisms in the Bible. Dandelions, the purslane.
Purslane, I've never even heard of.
Right, I had never heard of it either.
Okay.
Until this show. And then also the mustard.
Mustard flower.
Mustard flower. Well, mustard seeds are in the Bible.
Yeah. And dandelions really aren't in the Bible either, right? It's just bitter.
They're not actually named
in
the Bible. Like the word dandelion is in the Bible,
Right.
but they're, I guess, termed as a bitter leaf.
Okay.
And it's and those types of greens grow in the Mediterranean, and it's supposed to be like symbolism of the Israelites suffering. Yeah, not happy stuff.
I imagine if I took a bite of it, I'd be suffering too.
So, yeah, I guess they're plentiful in the promised land.
Okay.
So
there's so much Bible stuff in this.
It is, yeah. Something about the Israelites endured as slaves, which Leanne is kind of a slave, sort of.
Yeah.
She says you're our servant. Servant is kind of a slave, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Well, it was mentioned in the Bible. The prophet Job asked, "Can that which is tasteless be eaten without salt, or is there taste in the slime of the purslane?"
Ew.
Yeah. So.
Nasty. Sounds like okra.
It does. Oh, yeah. Ugh. So the Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder wrote about it nearly 2,000 years ago and advocated wearing purslane as an amulet to ward off evil.
Okay.
Which reminded me of season 1, episode 10 with the placenta when Sean was, cooking the croquembouche and the placenta. He said you bury placenta, that they used to bury placenta bury placenta in the ground, smooth side up to ward off evil spirits.
Right. Yeah.
So same thing with that.
That would ward me off. So anyway.
Well, then they're talking about Dorothy comes in this Marilyn Monroe getup.
Oh my God.
You like that?
I mean, okay. And just how arrogant she was acting. Oh my God.
You thought she looked great.
Okay. Again, I'm not going to, I have negative feelings towards Dorothy, but nothing against Lauren Ambrose, okay?
Right.
So nothing against...
Yeah, Lauren, you know what? Lauren Ambrose is putting her foot into this role. Like,
she is.
I'm worried, an incredible actress.
I'm worried that if I see her anything else, I'm going to not like her. Just because...
she's always going to be Dorothy.
That's how they say people get pigeonholed, right? Into a certain role.
Right.
And then, like the Harry Potter kids, they had a hard time moving out of the roles,
Not Julian.
Yeah, Julian. I still think of him as Ron Weasley. I call him Ron Weasley half the time.
I don't see him as
I think
Ron
this
Weasley.
is the first season I stopped calling him Ron Weasley.
You did last podcast.
I sure did, because that's what I see. But, little Harry had to do 100 movies before he stopped calling him Harry Potter. But, that means they did a good job in their role. So I don't dislike the actress, but I dislike Dorothy so much, which is the actress doing a good job. That's why I hate on her. So if I'm picking on her, it's not because I'm picking on the actress.
Right.
It's just because Dorothy, And she was bad in this episode as well, being very
She just seems very jealous in this episode, and just if things aren't
complaining
everything
at
about
Sean,
her.
Yeah, and complaining at Sean for helping the kids, and just like, ew, why are you helping these, rats,
peasants,
these peasants? Yeah, right. But we did learn something about Sean,
Right, he wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
He sure wasn't.
So what did he say?
Well, he said he spent time on the streets, because Dorothy had decided that she was tired of getting these fluff pieces like the pet parade.
Right.
So she kind of called an audible, which in football means you change the play, as you see. Yeah. So she decides, hey, instead of that, let's make these homeless kids the story. And she tries to kind of exploit them.
Yeah, definitely.
It was definitely exploitive. And the kids weren't going for it. They wouldn't even talk to her. But they built a rapport with Sean, and Sean just happens to come up at that time, not knowing that Dorothy was doing this exploitive story, and he starts handing out sandwiches, and they right then make an adjustment. They're like, okay, let's do the story on, on this, your husband giving out the sandwiches, right?
Right.
And Sean definitely is developing a good relationship with them, Again, is it him getting their trust or them getting his trust?
Right.
Is that their way in? Maybe
Right.
they're cult members. But you know what? Then I got another impression. Because towards the end, the last scene of the episode, and I don't want to skip forward. I mean, we can kind of go back and forth, but Leanne's looking out the window, and there's 3 kids that are looking up kind of at her in a creepy way, right? And I got this weird impression that maybe they're the good guys.
And maybe they're looking up like, oh, we see the devil.
Right.
Like
Maybe
we see
Leanne's a
dead
bad guy.
people, we see the devil.
And what made me think that is you, actually, because you mentioned Uncle George.
Oh.
Yeah, and what was it, season 1 when he told
season 2.
Season 2. See?
Wait. Yeah, honestly, now I'm getting all
well,
mixed up.
season 1 or 2.
Yeah, we're
George says, "Do you know who you've allowed in your house?"
Yeah.
When he's talking to the Turners. Meaning Leanne.
Right.
Right. So maybe she's the bad guy. Maybe she's the big bad of all this. Maybe she's a demon or something, and they're there to help. Maybe.
See, maybe,
right?
yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
I like Leanne, but yeah, maybe. You just don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Yeah. Put in the comments what you think
Let
about
us
that.
know.
Who's the bad guy? Who's the real bad guy?
I know who isn't the bad guy. Roscoe. It was good to see Roscoe was back. Oh, and the way Roscoe looked at Leanne, he looked like he was scared to death
He did.
of her. When he saw her, he looked
scared of her.
He looked really afraid.
But he did mention in the episode, hey, if they see me, they're going to be upset or something. So maybe that was it. But
yeah, maybe when he broke in the house but he did look scared. He looked legitimately scared.
Looked scared. He looked scared too when he saw that young girl, the homeless girl with the shaved head.
Right. He looked like he recognized her.
Maybe something like that. I don't know what it was, but he was really weird. And then we always mention Julian's comment of the episode. The funniest thing he said for me. It's when that girl walked by and he looks at her and he goes, this is when Roscoe is looking scared at her. Mm-hmm. And Julian just goes, homeless or hipster, it's hard to tell.
That was funny as he's doing kettlebell.
Yeah, kettlebell.
The
most hipster exercise ever, right? Yeah. That's hilarious.
Oh, I like the camera angle that they had during that scene outside.
When they're exercising?
Yeah, when they're exercising, it's like way high.
Yeah,
like
that was weird, right?
Above. It was different.
It was cool.
So what did you think of the hair in the dandelion soup?
Yeah. So, I mean, the episode's named Hair. And, I mean, it's easy to forget how that all ties into everything, right? And, of course, Julian's trying to get Hair to test DNA from Leanne, from Jericho, from Dorothy, and he ends up getting it from, the lady, that visited the house last week. And, but there was that one scene where Leanne's eating Sean's dandelion soup, which he says tastes like spring, which sounds great. But she pulls out this blonde, kind of short hair out of her mouth.
Which I think it was from the wig. That
Dorothy's wig,
was
right?
wearing.
Or Marilyn Monroe wig.
Right.
Yeah. So I do too, but I mean, what significant can that be? Because it was very dramatic. And the music was, hitting. I don't know.
So they may be showing Leanne. Julian's trying to get hair or like,
I don't know. She wasn't.
Sign.
She wasn't falling
Was it a
for any of
sign?
his brouhaha with the when he's trying to pull her hair out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then she like, ow, that hurts, and pulls his hair. Because she's kind of showing dominance in that relationship there.
Right.
Right. She's the leader. We're not equals. Yeah, that was kind of cool.
And then Julian sniffing the pillow was kind of.
Yeah, he was
creepy.
smelling
I guess
her
he does
pillow.
really miss her. He says he missed her.
Yeah,
Well, he obviously does a little.
Which she called him out like that's a lie. You're lying.
Yeah.
I could tell. But
Well, she didn't see him sniffing the pillow.
Right.
She would have
He may
known.
indeed miss her.
He may.
Yeah, that was creepy as heck.
And Leanne fights back though. She pulled his hair right back.
Sure did.
So.
Yeah. One thing I noticed, and we talked about this last time, was that mannequin. If you notice, that mannequin did not have the eye patch on it, and it was dressed differently, right?
Had a gold robe on.
Oh, it had a robe. Okay.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing in this episode was, for the first time, I was screaming. Julian confronts Dorothy about Jericho isn't your baby. I was like, what? Yes.
Yeah.
But no trigger, nothing.
No, I almost felt like she was starting to maybe break down a little bit, but then that lady shows up asking for a brush, and he admits that's where he got his hair from, basically, and that just shut any possibility of her remembering anything down. Right. Yeah. So,
unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about the three kids standing out looking up at Leanne, though? Did that give you any impression?
It was creepy. Yeah.
I don't feel they're the cult, though, now.
I just don't know. I mean,
maybe they're there to help.
Maybe they're there to help. In the last episode, they said, she gave the signs of how to spot a cult member, and it was like, don't eat. But they did eat his food.
They did.
They did
the one
eat
girl
Jericho's,
threw part of it on the ground.
Right.
She didn't wring it out like George.
But George, technically George did eat the food. He
technically did.
He just wrung it out and took the skin off.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You know what? I just thought it was definitely creepy. What else was creepy was Leanne, when she was laying on that piano with her head down. It looked like she was headless.
Oh.
It reminded me of the movie The Ring, the girl climbing out.
Oh, that and the whole, Julian putting his hand or fingers through her hair.
That was creepy.
That was in The Ring as well, right?
Was that? Yeah.
The ghost did it, right?
Right. So I just, So I don't know.
Well, what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Throw some of that stuff in the in the comments here. I guess that's all we got this time. But what do you think? Do you think the kids are cult members, or do you think they're saviors? Mm-hmm. Do you think Leanne's a good guy still, or are you starting to get vibes that she may be the bad guy? I know we hinted at that a little bit last time because we got some vibes, but now it's starting to kind of feel a little more tangible.
Next episode's coming February 11th, hopefully February 10th on a Thursday.
We'll see. We've been living for that.
And it's actually, the name of the episode is called Ring.
Ring. Oh, really?
That's weird. Yeah.
That is weird.
And it says Leanne continues to be upset by other people. Bad luck strikes the Turner brownstone. Really? Bad luck hasn't struck it prior to this?
Damn.
Bad luck has been at the Turner brownstone for a while. But thanks for watching.
All right, you guys. Take it easy.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye.